Today on the Idiot's Guide, we're talking about how do you subscribe? Do you subscribe? Do you become a member? Do you sign up? With dozens of software as a service, which is called SaaS options, how do you know what's best for your business? And also, what started out as a joke turned into the best way to celebrate the Pope coming to town. An edible print of a Pope selfie on a cookie. I'm your host, Adam Richardson, aka the Profit Hacker, and I'm joined by the man in charge, Mr. Joe Haslam. Welcome to the Idiot's Guide. So as I get started here, what I'm curious about is that it's kind of a big assumption, I suppose, that most businesses that we talk to and that are in business require some kind of a software to operate some kind of a thing in order to make some kind of a something happen, whether that's payroll to budgeting to not just like financial stuff, but also, I do a lot of sales. And so I look at CRM, which is a customer relationship manager. There's also different variations of that. There's also lead generation stuff. There's 1,000 different options out there. There's so many different directions. Some of it's AI generated, and it is dizzying the amount of options that are out there. But the problem isn't necessarily the options. The options are fine. I'm glad that there's plenty of different directions you can compare, you can see, you can read reviews. It's when it comes down to the price tag. And I know, I'm a salesman. I don't like talking about the price tag. It's not my favorite part. However, you have to confidently talk about this. And in my confidence, I've always felt like this was the best way of looking at it. However, I feel like I might be standing corrected today in my perspective, because when it comes to different softwares, a lot of the services that are out there, you're going to be presented with the tab on their website that says pricing. And honestly, in my opinion, if it doesn't give you a price and it says request a demo, don't waste your time.
Never. And any business listening who does that, I will never buy your services. It does not happen. I see that, I walk away.
It's super valuable to just have a little bit more transparency about your pricing. But then when it comes down to that, like, what is actually being transparent? Because let's say, for example, you get a service, and I'm not going to name any names today because I don't want to single anybody out. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I do want to kind of take a look and think, okay, well, if I had something that took good care or kept track of my bookkeeping, okay, and I don't know what's out there that takes care of my books, especially fast books, but let's say, for example, I go in and there's a fee for it, and that fee is two different options. One is it's okay, it's reasonable, but probably about, let's say, $29.99 a month per user.
Always with the 99.
Yes, or 97, whatever you want to do. It's just a funny number that people appeal to. And then you have this option where it says, hey, for a deeper discount, you can pay for the entire year. Mm-hmm. And we'll give it to you for $19.99. Okay? So what's that? $240 a year? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So me, being the smart business savvy guy I am, said, well, that's a steal. I mean, that's saving some money, right? That's $120 this year that I get to save if I sign up for this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this. I don't have any problems. I've used it in the past, and I like the service. So I guess I'll try the trial. And if it's really, truly the best, I'm going to go with the savings option and save myself some money this year. So, Joe, that is that's kind of where we met earlier today.
Yep.
And tell me a little bit about all the wrong in that.
All right. Well, I'm just going to start out by, if a company is advertising something to you, because when you go to these sites, that it's always checked for the annual plan.
Yeah.
Okay. If a company is advertising this to you as a deal, it's probably not. It's to their advantage, not yours. I'm just going to say that because that is the way that it generally goes. Now, there may be some good companies out there who genuinely want to give you a discount, but realistically, it's not. And I'm going to tell you, so this is why. It's the time value of money and utility. Now, if you watch the other videos on our YouTube channel, you know that I did a very awkward video on utility.
It wasn't awkward. It was just one of the first videos that you did, and it was good for a first video.
There you go. Okay.
Give your editor some credit.
Oh, all credit to the editor made it look good. I was the problem in that one. You know, accountants, we don't make good presenters. But the idea is you're looking at what is the use of that money now and in the future. Okay. So the example that you brought to me earlier was the difference between, I think it was a $30 monthly versus $240. No, what was it? Yeah, $240 annually. Yeah. And so it was a $120 difference between the two plans. Mm-hmm. Now, saving $120, that sounds great. What can we do with $120? Well, that's the problem. Is we're not looking at saving $120 and what can we do with $120. We've got to look at the beginning of the plan. We were just looking at the end of it. At the end of the whole series is done, we saved $120. Okay? But at the very beginning, we did not save $120. We spent $210 more. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, but you're still saving money in the long run. And this is where it comes to utility and the time value of money. Okay. When you're looking at two options, you're looking at what can you do with that money in the meantime. Okay. So they call them NPV analysis, net present value, utility analysis. They're doing all these kinds of things. These are big buzzwords.
Fancy words.
Yes. Essentially all it is you're looking at, I spend $30 today and I get the software. Over the next 12 months, I'm paying $30 a month. Okay.
Okay.
On the annual plan, I pay $240 today and I have that for 12 months. Well, in that meantime of catching up to that $240 that I just paid, it'll take 8 months or 7 months.
Okay.
After the first month is used, because you've already paid the $30. Well, you've got $210. What can you do with $210 today? So here's the example. We go and we spend $210 on advertising, whatever it is. And with $210, we get one additional client for the accounting firm. Okay. That one client equates to $500 a month at minimum. At the highest rate, that equates to, so that's $6,000 a year off of that. Okay, at $500 a month. Mm-hmm. At the highest end, we're looking, if someone signs up for all the services, we're looking at $35,000 a year. Okay, off of a $210 advertising campaign. We just need one client coming in off that. Now, one client is not too much of a reach, especially when it comes to accounting. Everyone needs accounting. Everyone needs taxes. Everyone needs books, the bookkeeping done. So it's not that hard to get new clients. It's just getting the outreach out there. Mm-hmm. So it's reasonable. So by buying the annual plan today, I could have just cost at minimum myself $6,000. At most, by paying that extra $210 today, I just lost out on $35,000 of 1 year's worth of revenue. If that client stays for the average amount of time that our clients stick around, we're talking into the hundreds of thousands of dollars simply by choosing that annual plan. Okay. Now, if we're looking at what can we do with that money, cash flow is the important thing. It's not the total net by the end of the day. It's what is that cash flow? How much of it is flowing out? How much of it is flowing in? And if you can use that money in the interim to do something better, then why would you pay for an annual plan up front?
A lot of people in the business, let's say in online business, online sales or e-com, a lot of times it's the cost per lead that you're looking at. So how much does it cost for an individual client? And in that, like, I guess let me not say e-com necessarily, but like online coaching. Okay, if someone's offering a service to teach, bring them through a coaching model where they learn how to do specific things. There's a price tag on it for, I don't know, $5,000. But let's say that $5,000 walks this client through, or that new customer through, and I just spent $240 to get that one client, as opposed to usually the cost per lead on that could be anywhere between, I don't know, $30 and $60 for that name, which is far better return if you're looking at it saying, well, I spent $30 on a CRM that helped me maintain and track that through a pipeline, and I closed the guy with some advertising, and so the cost for that lead was, or cost for that client was, I don't know, $50. Okay. So that $50 is in kind of the way that I'm mathing in my head is I am getting, what is that? $50 versus $5,000 is what, a 500% increase? No,
it's a 10 to 1.
So 1,000% increase. Yep.
Yeah.
So if I think about that in that sense, it makes a lot more sense to me why I wouldn't waste my money if I know that there's the potential to increase it exponentially. I mean, that's one client for a portion of the cost. If I have another ad that goes out and another lead comes in and I close another client, again, I'm compounding that. That's 2,000%. That's 3,000, so on and so forth. And so you're right. At the end of the day, when I look at it and don't look at it annually going, woo, I'm getting a deal. It really comes down to, the overall. I want to shift gears though, because maybe like if you want to add to that.
I just want to add one more point real quick.
Okay.
Before we shift gears on this. Now the question is, why would a business do this? They're cutting their dollars by, by what, in that example, it was a third. So they're giving you a 33% discount on this, and it's better for you not to do the annual plan. Why would businesses advertise for this? Well, the reason goes back to the old adage, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Okay? So it's better to have than to be anticipating getting.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when they're looking at the annual plan versus the monthly, they immediately have $240. They have that in hand today. They don't have to wait 12 months to get it. They don't have to fear that this is going to be a 6-month turnover on this client. They have the $240 today. Now, we looked at what can we do with $210. We're going to turn around to them and say they could have gotten $30 for 12 months, or they get $240 today. They're going to take that $240 and compound that in their business to then produce more revenue, cut costs, whatever it is. Their bottom line is going to improve because now they have a lot more cash on hand. Just the same as we did with not spending the $240. But that's why businesses want to do it, because it's immediately cash on hand.
Yeah.
It's a great business model. It's great for the business. Not so good for the consumer, but it's great for the business. Now, I will throw a caveat in here. If it's $210 and you don't have something for that to go against, if that money's just going to sit there and do nothing for you, you're not going to take that $210 that you didn't pay today and put it to something productive, then yeah, get the discount. But if you can make it productive, use that money to do something, there's no reason to go with an annual.
I want to say that whether you're Elon Musk and make billions, okay, or whether you're a guy holding a sign on the side of the street, okay, it's a big, huge gap, okay. Maybe I don't know if the dude actually is, poor, but there's always that question. But for the perspective is those two. If it's okay, well, I need to buy, a Sharpie to draw on my cardboard versus a box that's on sale. I'm going to buy the one because I can save the rest of it to buy a cheeseburger later. That idea, or or whether you're a billionaire and you have to buy a sign for the side of your building and you get a discount if you pay a certain amount and, up front, whatever it is, then you're like, in either one of those scenarios, there is always a place to reallocate the money. Mm-hmm. So no matter the scenario, it's always better to not look at the annual perspective of this. I don't want to push back against this. Like, hey, if you've got nowhere for this money to go, don't do it. You're right. However, I want to challenge our listener to say yeah, well, what could I do?
Yeah.
What could I be doing with this extra money?
And that's the idea, is you're always looking at revenue generation.
Yeah.
And wealth generation. Now, I don't look at wealth as just how much money you have. Wealth is life improvement. It's better relationships. It's feeling better about yourself. That's true wealth. And so when I talk about wealth improvement, you could take that $200 and have a really nice anniversary dinner that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to have. Well, that's what you were able to do with that $210. That improved your wealth, your overall well-being. And that can be worth it. And so that's what you've got to look at. And this is the fundamental idea behind utility, is what are you getting out of these options versus the other ones? Which one's going to benefit you the most? What can you do with that extra $210 that you didn't spend today? And so it really is an important idea to look at the entire picture. But there's another old adage, a penny saved is a penny earned. These adages are old adages for a very good reason. And it's because they apply. We don't understand them so much today because they're so old. We just hear them and think, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But this is the principle behind a penny saved is a penny earned. You saved yourself 210, well, I guess 21,000 pennies, but 210 pennies, and you earned those pennies to go and spend them on something else.
So what I was going to do is shift a little bit, but not much, only in the sense that I want to speak the same language about subscriptions and memberships and signing up for this kind of stuff. And I want to throw it at the consumer, not just a business owner, because a business owner, yes, is inundated with options to better perform or look for better performance in their business. But I feel like as a consumer, you're also susceptible to the same advertising ploy, the same model of everything. Because when you look at subscriptions, we had a conversation yesterday that was talking about, these subscribers and literally, I mean, the reports right now for a lot of these streaming services are they are tanking, and they're tanking for obviously different reasons, not necessarily the subscription side of the options. I don't think that's their marketing mix up. It's, it has to do more with their production and what kind of quality they're putting out right now, or their directions. And so, I don't want to necessarily pick on that, because like I have a subscription, or I pay a membership to a car wash, a gym. I have streaming services. I have to pay for internet stuff, and all these things have different fees that come with them every single month that I could bulk pay for and get a discount for. But at the end of the day, like that's I think where I don't know, like as a consumer, if I'm not looking at it as a revenue generating thing, would it be better for me to just pay for the full amount up like the year?
Generally, no, because again, we're talking about utility. What can you do with that money? If you don't have another use for that money, like buying a cheeseburger or doing something good, then yeah, pay the annual.
Yeah.
You don't need the extra cash flow. But honestly, that is an extremely rare circumstance, and you should always be looking at what can you do with your money. That's what that entire utility video was about, is what can we do with this? And what is the value of the other options?
Yeah.
What can we turn it into? I'm a guy who has a lot of different businesses. I've got a lot of different money-making hobbies. I've got a lot of things always going on. That's because I'm always looking at what is a way to produce more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing. And being able to save, $120 or $210, $210 of cash today to be able to use on something else to produce something, that makes a big difference. And so even as the average non-business consumer, it's really important to look at that. Now, there are ways that this can backfire. Okay. So more and more in our society today, we are going to the subscription model.
Mm-hmm.
And that benefits the business owner because they get you perpetually into this service, as opposed to just buying the product straight out and now it's yours. Okay. So think about your mortgage.
Okay.
How many years is your mortgage?
30.
30 years. Are you paying a monthly fee for that mortgage?
Yes.
Yeah. What is that? It's a subscription. We all simply subscribe to our homes.
I mean, that's a real basic perspective on something. You're right. I learned years ago from Carlton Sheets, that's one of my biggest liabilities. Okay. It is not an asset until it's paid for.
No, it's still an asset. I was being facetious with that. Homes are still assets. They're still value. Because you're getting more out of it than just simply living there.
Right.
You're able to customize it to what you want. You have things that you need there. You can change it. You can modify it, whatever. However, if you think back even just 70 years ago, what was the average home price?
Probably 17,000,
yeah.
Maybe 25 at like expensive house.
And did you have a mortgage?
Yeah.
No. People didn't need a mortgage back then because house prices were so low.
Well, I mean, comparatively in scale, like you're not making as much.
True, but I'm just talking 70 years.
Okay.
So if you look back at so pull it up on your phone real quick. So look back to 70 years ago. So look, there are websites that I love. So do 1950s dollars to today. Yeah, so that to 2023 to today, yeah. Any one of those. And you can pick any one of those sites. They all basically do the same thing. But they're inflation calculators.
Okay.
So pick any of them. Do you have them up?
Yeah.
All right. So in the dollars, let me see the. Okay. So they always have a calculation. So in the year of 1950, $1, let's see. So we're going to put in, let's say, a $20,000 mortgage. So a house price, $20,000. I'm going to calculate that. $253,000. How much is your house worth?
Now it's way more than this, but I bought it at about $260,000.
Okay. And so if we look at, sorry, I'm stealing Adam's phone here. He's giving me the look.
You're good. Just don't shut the timer off.
Except I have no idea how to use this. There we go. New tab.
It's an Android. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah. Silence on the line.
So, one of the reasons why I'm asking this is not so much like purchase power or whatnot, but I'm actually asking in the sense that I think about the number of subscriptions that I currently have, and when we were working on a business model that had a membership to it, that membership, I banked on utilization or a lack thereof. I don't need somebody to come in and utilize the service. You know, this is very much how a gym operates. If you go to a gym, they are pushing. I mean, they're peddling gym memberships like they're going out of style, and they'll do nickels and dimes and nothing for this. You know, hey, don't worry, it's $5 a month, and they'll sign up 20,000 people, and yet, you know, there might be 100 people that go there monthly regularly. But their books show a membership of thousands and thousands of these names at really, really super affordable prices. And the reason why is because they're most successful because in that exact situation, they're banking on the fact that you aren't going to come to the gym. You just want that gym membership because it satisfies that need to know that you can go to the gym and work out if you feel like you're going to. And so it's just, it kind of, you know, that in business, I want to look at that and I want to see, okay, I want to sign people up, but I really don't want them to utilize this. And that's the way my revenue grows. So that's kind of a perspective that I'm thinking of. And I think about that with, you know, my streaming services or anything else. There's a service right now that will take a look at your entire financial budget, look at all the subscriptions that you have, tell you what you're overpaying for, how many subscriptions you have in certain capacities, and try to kind of chip away at some of this stuff because it'll show you or reveal to you how much money you're actually just burning through every single month when you could just be saving here, there, everywhere. And anyway, those are a couple different scenarios, and I don't even know if you heard me. You were really, really engrossed in my phone. Yeah. So
all right. So I cleared your browser history too.
Oh, thank goodness.
Sorry, guys. I couldn't resist the joke. So the average home value in Utah in 1950 was $7,409. So we're going to put that 7,409 into our inflation calculator. And $94,000.
$94,000.
Your home was a lot more than $94,000 when you bought it, right?
Yes.
So it has increased much more than inflation. You know why?
Why?
Mortgages.
Mortgages
are the reason why home prices are as high as they are.
I'm going to go to the bank and be like, I'd like to buy a house membership.
So I researched this quite a few years ago, looking into why there was such a big increase in prices. And so I actually traced back the changes over the years and house values and this and that. And what it came down to was mortgages. Because people could, instead of paying for their house all at once, get a much smaller payment. Pay a smaller amount for the entire time of that run of that house. And it's easier. You can afford more of a house. So people caught on, you can afford more of a house. Well, that just means I can sell it for more. Mm-hmm. It's the same house. It just costs more because the monthly price is affordable. And so the idea of not paying up front is actually what caused all our homes to be overpriced. And so when not controlled and when not actually managed properly, not paying up front can seriously bite us in the butt. But for the most part, as an average consumer, cash today is worth more than paying it than cash in 12 months.
Okay.
And so you look at the value of that $240 today versus the $30 over each subsequent month. And they actually have calculators for that. That's the net present value. So you look at the current value of today's over a stream, looking at inflation rates. And so you look at what that money is worth in the future. You put that all together, and then you compare, is it actually worth it to do an annual plan or a monthly? And for the most part, monthly is going to be better.
Yeah.
And so, but again, you've just got to watch it, because otherwise you can run into a whole lot of SaaS problems. And I'm not talking about from teenagers.
Well, and I think that kind of gets you to that, like, oh, everything gets run away, like, the cost of things. If it's not, if it's not just a mortgage that we're concerned about with this, like, there are things I believe that just appreciate in value no matter what you do, like cars, let's say, for example.
Inflation. Inflation is real, and it actually happens. I mean, a home in 1950 worth $7,000 just based on inflation is worth $100,000 today.
Yeah.
That's it. And so ask yourself, if that 1950s home you're living in, if you only paid $100,000 for it. If you didn't, then mortgages are to blame for that.
Memberships, mortgages.
Sorry, household home memberships are the problem.
Home memberships.
It's the new gym membership. Home memberships.
So, like that, what I was talking about, like the ultimate use of this is utilization, not utility, but utilization. When you have a membership, you're banking, or you provide a membership to something, you're banking on a lack of usage. Mm-hmm. That's what you're trying to you're almost trying to project that into how many people are signing up. So let's say I have some kind of membership to a different service, and it costs, I don't know, cheap. It's like $5 a month. Okay. Super cheap. Nobody's going to bat an eye. They're going to sign up for it. I can offer a year at a discount, obviously, because that would be the beneficial move. But then how much of that year is going to be utilized by that customer? Probably about an average of maybe, I don't know. Like,
it's different for every industry.
Yeah, I was going to say it's different, because utilization at a gym membership was that example is, you're going to have 1,000 people in the membership and 25 of them go regularly.
Yeah.
It's less than 10%. That's normal.
Yeah.
And they're banking, they're getting 1,000 people getting memberships. So you're getting, whether it's a $15 membership to the gym, that's insane. And, 1,000 is not the number that they're usually at. They're usually in the 10,000 range,
Yeah. And that is actually a part of their business model. So when I do pro formas, when I do business modeling for businesses starting a new business, or if they're existing in the business and they want to expand or anything like that, when they are on a subscription model, that is one of the things that we look at is utilization. Mm-hmm. So we look at if they've got a multi-tier system, so a $5, a $10, a $15 subscription model. We look at each one of those and what is the distribution percentage. So 10% at the $5, 80% at the $10, and 10% at the $15 plan. And then we look at what are the utilization rates for each of those. And so we look at, of all the people that are going to come in, we're going to get a 10% utilization rate on the $5 plan. We're going to get a 30% utilization rate on the $10 plan, and we're going to get a 15% utilization rate on the $15 plan. And I just threw out a whole bunch of numbers. No one followed me because it doesn't really matter. But we do that because we want to see what the value of a single customer is going to be, how much money they're going to bring in, and how much cost they're going to generate. And so we take those numbers, we put them together and figure out this is the revenue, this is the cost. Is this a good model? It is. Great. So we need to keep our utilizations at those metrics. If the utilizations change, pricing changes because we need more revenue for that utilization rate. And so if you suddenly have a lot more people utilizing your services, you need to increase your revenue because your cost has gone up. And so this is real what businesses do. They look at utilizations and they manage that so heavily to make sure that they are maintaining a healthy bottom line.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I said at the beginning, if the business is offering you a discount and it looks great, it's because it's benefiting the business. They are not in the business of altruism. They are in the business of increasing their bottom line. And they wouldn't offer these things if it didn't increase the bottom line.
There you have it, guys. I mean, honestly, you can't say it more plainly in the sense of it's just it makes sense on the consumer side. It makes sense on the business side that, you know, if you're working with something that's offering a service and it offers a discount and it's like the biggest, shiniest thing on the page, it's not to benefit you. And most people, I mean, myself included, fall for that and just, you know, like the joke's on me. But honestly, like, you know, I'm thinking I'm saving. And like you said, if I have the money, well, great. But there's still always, I'll push back and say, there's always a better utilization of your money. Don't fall for it. If you can budget it, then budget it because the rest of that money you could exponentially grow that as opposed to the company exponentially growing because of you, you know? And so it's, yeah, I think that's just kind of the conclusion of that segment of our podcast, honestly.
And just to be clear, anyone that uses any of our services, any of the businesses that I run the services, you will probably see an annual discounted option. Just because I know that it is negative to the consumer, I also know that it is good for my business.
Right.
And I will always use it. And that's the consumer business dichotomy, is they'll always butt heads. But always remember, you as the consumer have the final say. We as a society have lost confidence in the power of consumers. We are the ones that hold the power to change the producers.
Yeah.
And we have to use that in order to change the way that the pricing is. Now, until that happens, oh, heck yeah, I'm going to be doing my annual discounts. I like the money.
My brain goes this direction because, well, it's current society, and current society is there's always this looming recession that we're trying to see if we're in a recession. And, you know, like our current economy says this, and this isn't part of my notes. This isn't part of anything. But it makes me think about this is when you say that the consumer has the power, it speaks to me about what a recession is and the positive sides of what, you know, the financial industry is going to say it's a big dark cloud, but it really is the consumer taking the reins and saying, we got to get this under control. The problem is that until then, I'm going to keep presenting you with a membership that you'll just, yeah, I can afford that. That's savings. And until we stop consuming, it will always produce because the demand is still there, which means we're stuck in an inflation model rather than recession so that we can fix what's going on. And I only like, that's what just made me think of is you said, you have the power. We just continue to get duped by the marketer. And, you know, and until we finally just kind of close our pocketbooks and say, nope, I'm good. I don't need that. You know, the demand is being fulfilled. And so, yeah, you know, hey guys, word of advice. You don't want memberships? you don't want to pay extra for things, close your pocketbook just for a sec. See what happens.
All right. What's the Nike phrase? Just do it. So we're going to say, just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Yeah. All right. So, well, maybe you can do this, but there was this moment back. This was actually about beginning of August when this happened, but a big youth event happened in Lisbon. Lisbon is Spain, I believe.
Portugal.
Oh, okay. Portugal. It's next door.
Oh, if we have any listeners in Spain and Portugal, you are going to get it. Whew.
Anyway, in Lisbon, I'll just keep it there. Since I put that there, in the city center, there's a bakery that it actually started out as a joke. They were like, "Oh, you know what? The Pope's coming. You know what we should do is, print a picture of him on a cookie." And they're like, No, we really should do that. Like the anticipation of almost 1 million people coming through the city during this event. And it's a youth event that the Pope comes through and speaks to the Catholic youth. And so, yeah, I mean, they were only doing about, I believe it was 120 cookies a day. That's it. I'm like, that's a little bakery. That's tiny.
Yeah.
That's like 2 ovens.
Not even that. I do that in my kitchen.
Well, I might have the number wrong. No, I'm pretty sure because it said it started out as I believe 120, but
120 dozen.
Maybe that's it.
Okay, I would believe that because
they were going through these like crazy. They had a display case out front that people would just go up and get their picture next to these cookies, but like and just take pictures of the cookies and then post them all over social media. So it gained in popularity because who else would know? Everyone would want a Pope cookie,
Mm-hmm.
like Pope selfies are hard to come by. Get a picture of him that's not just in his motorcade as he's going by. It's pretty impressive. So, I think about like, I think that somebody went and maybe I imagine that this is what happened is somebody bought a Pope cookie and they have encased it and preserved it and enshrined it so that later we can come back and, 500 years from now or 1,000 years from now and say like, all right, who was the idiot who frosted a Pope onto a cookie? And it's like Jesus toast, like it's amazing. Or the whatever. It's the same kind of stuff, isn't it? It like
I've never understood.
Well, if it's you that our one listener happens to enshrine a Pope cookie, good for you. Honestly, I'm really proud that you have such great vision in your life.
It will one day be a relic.
It will
be held in a Catholic church for all to view.
You can.
You know it well.
I can't even like. I don't want to be offensive, but it's comedic to think like, wow, for real. Like there's no reason for this, but yes, someone is going to unnecessarily do that for whatever. But in the meantime, I don't think they're doing the Pope cookies anymore. So if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, yeah, no. I'm learning Portuguese on, what is it, Duolingo? I've made it 227 days or something like that.
There you go.
So that's like in a row. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, like that's flexing on people, but I can't speak Portuguese. Anyway, that's pretty much the rest of our show. And you know what? We are making an amazing time. At this point, instead of just rambling, I'm going to end the show because this is perfect.
This will make up for, you can, again, as I said last week, you can tell who brings the topics to the table. This was definitely an Adam week. And you can tell. So we'll actually make Adam happy today. And we will be ending on time.
You're going to need to do this like 4 more episodes to make up for the row of long episodes that we just went through. Like,
all right, I'll work on that. You keep bringing the topics, and I'll keep shutting up.
All right. Well, that was good. I mean, like, this is still your area of expertise. I just kind of, I'm one of those ones duped by the discount, you know? So, hey, if you're duped by the discount, it's okay. It's all right. It's still, tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is a different subscription option that you can turn down. And honestly, take the power back in your hands, Mr. Listener, Mrs. Listener, I don't know, whatever you are. Listeners, we've reached the end of our show. But remember, life's too short, so keep laughing and keep learning. And remember, idiots have way more fun.
Check your shoes.